$5 million. Divorce. In my last life, I tore up the check and walked out with nothing but the clothes on my back. The result? I ended up destitute, watching helplessly as that scumbag ran off with her money. This time I smiled and held up 5 fingers. But I'm the love of your life, Rachel. That's going to cost extra. Her face went pale. Jake Bennett, don't push it. I turned to her golden boy, standing beside her. Carter, she won't even part with $50 million for you. Guess you aren't worth the price tag, huh? I stared at the check in front of me. The numbers were blindingly familiar. $5 million. Exactly the same as before. I was back to the day Rachel Sterling's old flame returned. Rachel stood before me, her makeup flawless, her Chanel suit making her skin look like porcelain. Beside her stood Carter Vance, dressed in a bespoke suit, looking every inch the elite businessman. In my past life, this scene had stung my eyes with tears. I had angrily shredded the check and left with my pride and nothing else. Jake, let's part on good terms. Rachel's voice was cold as ice. This $5 million is enough for you to start over. I took a deep breath, savoring the strange sensation of a second chance. I wouldn't make the same mistake twice. I slowly extended my hand, 5 fingers splayed, and flashed a brilliant smile. Rachel, for a soulmate, you need to add money. $50 million minimum. Rachel's expression instantly darkened. Jake, you're crossing the line. I noticed Carter's expression stiffen as well. I knew this man too well from my past life. Shiny on the outside, but drowning in debt, relying on a fake persona to hustle his way through high society. I immediately turned to Carter, feigning surprise. Carter, buddy, forget this woman. She can't even bear to spend $50 million on you. She clearly doesn't think you're worth it. Carter's face flushed red. Bennett, what is that supposed to mean? Nothing much, I shrugged. Rachel loves you so much she's throwing away her marriage for you. But she won't cough up $50 million? Sounds like she's looking down on you. Rachel was trembling with rage. Jake Bennett, stop trying to drive a wedge between us. I blinked innocently. How am I driving a wedge? Did I say something wrong? A talent as exceptional as Carter isn't worth $50 mil. Carter took the bait, clearing his throat. Rachel, actually, Jake has a point. Carter. Rachel looked at him in disbelief. How could you? I laughed internally. Past me was an idiot, reacting with anger and ego. This time, I'd use their weaknesses against them. Tell you what, I said, pretending to be generous. For the sake of our 3 years of marriage, I'll give you a discount. $48 million. Can't go lower. Rachel gritted her teeth. Keep dreaming. Fine. I turned as if to leave. I'll go chat with the press about the Sterling heiress dumping her husband for her high school crush. Should sell for a nice price. Wait. Rachel panicked. When did you become so smart? I finished for her. Rachel, people grow, especially after they've died once. She didn't catch the double meaning, just glared at me. $20 million. That's my limit. $45 million. Installments. $20 million down, the rest within a year. I countered rapidly. Otherwise, I'm going to your dad's birthday gala right now to cry my eyes out. Rachel went white. Her father, Arthur Sterling, valued family reputation above all else. If I caused a scene at his 60th birthday bash. Deal. She practically spat the word out. I smiled and extended my hand. Pleasure doing business. Oh, and I keep the house. You can take your designer bags, but the jewelry stays. I bought all of that. Carter stood by, jaw dropped, clearly not expecting things to unfold this way. Rachel hurriedly wrote a check and threw it at me. $20 million down payment. The rest as agreed. Now, go to the courthouse. Immediately, I caught the check elegantly and kissed it. As you command, my ex-wife. Walking out the door, I glanced back at the woman who had once made me feel like dust and the hollow man beside her. I felt incredibly light. This time, I wouldn't shed a tear for people who weren't worth it. The paperwork at the courthouse went surprisingly smooth. Rachel kept a cold face the whole time, while Carter kept shooting me complex looks, seemingly unable to figure out why the script had flipped. After signing the last document, I stretched. All right, from now on, we're strangers who know each other way too well. Rachel huffed. I hope you can live well with that money. Thanks to you, definitely better than being homeless. I beamed. By the way, Carter, heard your investments in Tokyo aren't going so well lately. Carter's expression shifted. How did you know? Lucky guess. I shrugged. Since you need a woman to pay $50 million, cash flow must be tight. Rachel frowned. Jake, stop spouting nonsense. Time will tell if it's nonsense. I organized my papers and turned around with a flourish. I wish you both happiness. Sincerely. Walking out of the courthouse, the sun was shining. I took a deep breath, tasting freedom. In the last timeline, I fell into a depression for a year until I saw on the news that Rachel and Carter had split after he embezzled a fortune and fled the country. This time, I not only got my compensation, but I also planted a seed of doubt in Carter's mind. My stomach growled. I decided to treat myself. I hadn't had a good meal since coming back. I walked into a nice-looking cafe and ordered the deluxe brunch. As I was digging in, a crisp female voice sounded nearby. "Jake Bennett? Is that really you?" I looked up to see a young woman with a ponytail and an apron standing by the table, eyes sparkling. "You are Chloe Lane." I recognized her, Rachel's college best friend. I'd only seen her a few times at parties in my past life. "Wow, you actually remember me." Chloe looked delighted, then lowered her voice. "I just saw the news. Did you and Rachel divorce?" I raised an eyebrow. "News? That fast?" The city business gossip feed just pushed it. She pulled out her phone to show me. The headline, "Sterling Heiress in Multi-Million-Dollar Divorce Settlement," was glaring. I laughed. "Looks like Carter sold the scoop." "So it's true." Chloe's eyes went wide. "Rachel actually paid you?" "Trade secret." I made a zipping motion across my lips, then chuckled. "But since it's on the news." "Yes, she paid that number." Chloe suddenly sat down opposite me. "Oh my God, do you know how mad Rachel is right now? She just sent 20 voice notes in the girls' group chat cursing you out." "I'm honored." I took a sip of coffee. "Want a slice of cake to celebrate?" "My treat." Chloe tilted her head, studying me. "You've changed. The old you never joked. You were always so serious." "Divorce helps a man grow," I said, half joking. "Honestly," Chloe whispered, "I always thought you and Rachel weren't a match. She's too domineering, and you were too, well, submissive. Now you can say I'm too sharp." I corrected with a smile. Chloe suddenly realized something. "Wait, where are you living? Rachel definitely kicked you out, right?" "The house is mine. It's in the agreement," I said proudly. "But I need a temporary place while she moves her stuff out." "You can stay at my place." Chloe blurted out, then blushed immediately. "I mean, there's a vacant loft above the cafe. It belongs to the property. Good environment, fair price." I watched her flustered reaction, finding it amusing. "Is the owner soliciting a tenant?" "Yes, soliciting." She nodded vigorously. "First month free as a celebration of your freedom." I couldn't help but laugh. "I accept, but no need for freebies. I'm a rich man now." Chloe made a face. A few million is nothing in the eyes of the Sterling family. "But," she suddenly turned serious, "you really need to be careful. Rachel won't let this go easily." "I know," I nodded, "but this time I'm ready." Chloe stared at me for a few seconds, then stuck out her hand. "Allies." I grasped her hand. "Allies." And just like that, on the first day of my divorce, I accidentally gained a lively, lovely ally. In my past life, I barely noticed Chloe Lane. In this life, I discovered she was a sincere and interesting girl. Perhaps rebirth wasn't just about changing my fate, but noticing the beautiful things I had once ignored. The next morning, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. The screen displaying Mom warmed my heart. In the previous timeline, I didn't dare contact my parents for 3 months after the divorce. I later found out they heard from a neighbor and nearly called the police. "Hello, Mom. Jake Bennett." My mother's voice was anxious and angry. "I just heard from Mrs. King at the market that you and Rachel divorced. You didn't tell us something this big." "We just finalized the paperwork yesterday. I was planning to come home today and tell you." I explained gently. "Your dad's blood pressure is through the roof." Mom's voice cracked with tears. "Come home right now." "Okay, I'm on my way." Hanging up, I sighed. My parents had always liked Rachel, thinking I had married up into a wealthy family. In a past life, when they learned I tore up the check and left empty-handed, they were heartbroken and furious. Dad even got sick because of it. This time, I had to handle them carefully. An hour later, I stood in front of my parents' house. As soon as I rang the bell, the door was yanked open. My father stood there, face grim. "Inside," he said briefly. In the living room, Mom sat on the sofa with red eyes. Several tabloids were spread on the coffee table, the covers blaring the news of my divorce from Rachel. "Mom, Dad," I started, but Dad cut me off. "45 million? You demanded 45 million from the Sterlings." Dad's voice trembled. "We Bennetts aren't rich, but we don't do shameful things." "Old man," Mom grabbed Dad's arm. "Listen to your son first." "Dad, I need to correct you. It's 45 million in cash. And I didn't just take the money. I took the house too." I took a deep breath and pulled a folder from my bag. "Mom, Dad, look at this first." Dad took the folder suspiciously. Inside was the dossier I'd compiled on Carter Vance, his debt records in Japan, court documents from multiple companies suing him, and the timeline of him approaching Rachel. "This is... Rachel's golden boy is actually a con artist," I said calmly. "In the past." No, I mean, I investigated and found out he's drowning in debt. He targets rich women. Mom gasped. Does Rachel know? She's blinded by love right now. She won't believe anything. I smiled bitterly. The millions aren't just compensation for me. It's the price of a lesson for her. Dad flipped through the documents, his expression softening. So you knew all along. I knew she had someone else in her heart, but I didn't expect it to be this dirty, I said softly. Mom, Dad, I'm sorry to worry you, but I wasn't being greedy. I just wanted to take back what I deserved. Mom suddenly stood up and hugged me. Silly boy, we were just afraid you were being mistreated. Dad sighed and patted my shoulder. You did the right thing. The Bennett family doesn't look for trouble, but we don't fear it either. My heart warmed. Past me cared too much about pride and ended up hurting the people who love me most. This time, I finally learned to be honest. By the way, I suddenly remembered. Dad, can you do me a favor? What favor? Play sick, I winked. Like really sick. 2 hours later, Arthur Sterling, my ex-father-in-law, called. My parents had acted according to plan. Jake, Arthur's voice sounded awkward. I heard your father is very ill. Rachel just told me you two. Split up. Yes, Arthur. I adopted a heavy tone. The doctor says it's a sudden stroke risk, possibly related to the news of my divorce. Silence on the other end for a few seconds. That girl Rachel is too impulsive. I shouldn't interfere in your young people's affairs, but at a time like this, I'd like to visit your father. Is that okay? Of course, Arthur. I smirked silently. But don't blame Rachel. She just met her true love. I emphasized true love, and Arthur sounded even more embarrassed. I'm coming over immediately. Hanging up, I flashed an okay sign to Dad on the sofa. He was casually eating an apple, looking nothing like a stroke victim. Old Sterling is coming to see me? Dad raised an eyebrow. Yep, bringing his precious daughter and her true love. I grinned. Mom poked her head out of the kitchen. Should I prepare a breakup dinner? That's perfect, Mom. I gave a thumbs up. The more lavish, the better. Let Rachel see that even without the Sterling family, the Bennetts are living just fine. Dad burst out laughing. Good kid. You finally have some backbone. You used to be so timid in front of Rachel. It was painful to watch. I scratched my head sheepishly. Yeah, the old me was so busy trying to please Rachel, I couldn't even lift my head in front of her family, forgetting that I was my parents' treasured son too. The doorbell rang. I took a deep breath and opened it. Outside stood an embarrassed Arthur, a reluctant Rachel, and a forced calm Carter. Arthur, please come in, I said politely, then looked at Rachel, raising my voice intentionally. Rachel, thanks for coming to see my dad. Even though we're divorced, he'll be happy you came. Rachel's face flushed red, a mix of embarrassment and annoyance. Carter stood awkwardly to the side, losing all his elite swagger from yesterday. Arthur glared at his daughter and walked quickly into the living room. Old Bennett, heard you're sick? How is it serious? Dad immediately went into character, leaning weakly against the sofa. Arthur, I'm okay. Just got worked up. Kid stuff. Us old folks. Cough, cough. Mom timely handed him a glass of water. Doctor said he needs rest, no stress. Arthur was overcome with guilt. It's all Rachel's fault for being thoughtless. Old Bennett, don't worry. The Sterling family will cover all medical bills. No need, I interjected. The divorce settlement is enough. Rachel was very generous, $45 million in cash. Arthur clearly didn't know the amount and looked at his daughter in shock. $45 million? Rachel bit her lip, staying silent, while Carter's expression became subtle. Dad, Rachel finally snapped. Jake blackmailed me. Blackmail? I spread my hands innocently. It was a fair negotiation. Right, Carter? Carter didn't expect me to call on him and stammered. Arthur looked at me, then at Carter, his eyes growing cold. This is Carter Vance, Rachel's college senior, just back from Japan. I introduced enthusiastically. Has some huge project in Tokyo. Right, Carter? Carter broke into a sweat. Yes. Enough. Rachel interrupted. Dad, let's go. Mister Bennett needs rest. Go where? Arthur shouted. Your father Mr. Bennett is this sick. How can we leave? He turned to my mom. Martha, if you need any help, just say the word. Mom smiled. I actually just made dinner. Let's eat together. And so, under my careful orchestration, Rachel and Carter were forced to stay for the most awkward breakup dinner in history. At the table, Dad would occasionally let out a weak cough, causing Arthur to pile food on his plate in guilt. I enthusiastically poured wine for Carter, grilling him about his big projects in Japan. I got Carter so flustered and tipsy that his stories stopped adding up. Arthur's frown deepened, and Rachel looked like she was sitting on pins and needles. When Carter dodged the question about his specific company name for the 5th time, Arthur finally couldn't take it. Mr. Vance, what is the name of your company in Tokyo? I have some friends there. Maybe they can help. Carter's chopsticks clattered to the floor. I almost busted a gut holding back laughter. This was just the beginning, my dear Carter. 3 days after the divorce, I moved into the loft above Chloe's cafe. It was a spacious, bright space with minimalist decor and a view of the city skyline. This place is great, I said, putting down my luggage. How much is rent? Chloe handed me a pour-over coffee. Market price is $2,000. I'll give you 20% off. I took the coffee, raising an eyebrow. Didn't you say the first month was free? That was yesterday's offer expired. She winked playfully. Besides, you're a multi-millionaire now. You care about pocket change? I shook my head, laughing. Owner Lane is a financial wizard. By the way, she remembered something. Look at this. She pulled out her phone, opening a local forum. The pinned post was titled, Deep Dive into the Sterling Divorce. The Underdog Strikes Back. It detailed how I wittily secured fair compensation from Rachel and included screenshots of Carter's debt records from the Japanese courts. I widened my eyes. Who posted this? Dunno, but it's gone viral. Chloe bit her lip. Rachel is going to explode when she sees it. Just then, my phone rang. Caller ID, Arthur Sterling. Arthur? Jake. Arthur's voice sounded exhausted. Did you see that forum post? Just saw it. Wasn't me. I know it wasn't you, he sighed. The stuff about Carter. Is it true? I paused for a few seconds. You checked. I asked my friends in Tokyo to dig around. Arthur's voice turned cold. That kid owes at least 500 million yen. He's being sued by 3 financial institutions. He approached Rachel with impure motives. I hadn't expected Arthur to move this fast. Arthur, what do you plan to? I've already forbidden Rachel from seeing him. Arthur paused. Jake, Rachel wronged you before. The Sterling family owes you an apology. You're too serious, Arthur, I said softly. There's no right or wrong in feelings. Hanging up, Chloe looked at me with pure gossip in her eyes. Old Sterling apologized? Yeah, I nodded. He found out about Carter's background. Chloe clapped her hands and laughed. Serves him right. Rachel really was blind this time. She suddenly stopped laughing. But, are you sad? You guys were together for 3 years. I walked to the window, looking at the city silhouette. It'd be a lie to say I'm not sad. But mostly it's relief. I turned and smiled at her. You know, it feels good to be reborn. I mean, to start over. Chloe tilted her head. Did you almost say reborn? Slip of the tongue. I covered quickly. By the way, do you need an investor for the cafe? I have money burning a hole in my pocket. Her eyes lit up. Really? I was just thinking about opening a second branch. Just like that, I successfully changed the subject. But Chloe's sharp observation skills made me nervous. Slipping up wouldn't be good. In the afternoon, I decided to hit the gym to blow off steam. Just as I changed into my gear, my phone rang again. A strange number. Hello. Jake Bennett. Rachel's voice exploded from the receiver. Are you happy? Now the whole city knows I was scammed. My dad cut off my credit cards. I put it on speaker and slowly tied my shoelaces. Rachel, I didn't write the post. Who else knows about Carter? She sounded like she was crying. You ruined my relationship. I ruined it. I sneered. You dumped your husband for a con man. Remember? Silence on the other end. How did you know he was a con man? Damn, slipped up again. I improvised quickly. Chloe told me. Her cousin is a lawyer in Tokyo. It's easy to check these things. Chloe Lane. Rachel's voice spiked. Since when are you so close with her? Since the divorce, I said, intentionally provoking her. She's nice. Makes good coffee, too. You. Rachel was speechless with rage. Jake, I'm warning you. Stay away from my friends. Ex-wife, we're divorced. You don't get to control who I'm friends with, I said breezily. Oh, and thank Carter for me. Without him, how would I have all this money? Bastard. She screamed and hung up. I left for the gym in a great mood. As soon as I got downstairs, I saw a familiar Porsche parked on the curb. Rachel stormed out of the car, blocking my path. We need to talk. She took off her sunglasses. Her eyes were red. She had clearly been crying. I checked my watch. 10 minutes. I have a workout. That post really wasn't you. No, I looked her in the eye. Although the content is basically true. She bit her lip. Carter, does he really owe that much? 500 million yen. That's a little under $5 million, I shrugged. Nothing to your family, but an astronomical figure for normal people. Rachel went pale. He told me he had real estate projects in Ginza. He goes to Ginza a lot, I added, mostly for drinking and gambling. Rachel looked up sharply. How do you know? Almost blew it again. I hurriedly explained. Chloe's cousin found out. He has a record over there. Rachel suddenly grabbed my arm. Jake, I might have made a mistake. I gently pulled my arm away. Rachel, the papers are signed. But I was deceived. She said urgently. We can. No, we can't. I interrupted her. Rachel, you never loved me. You married me because your family pushed you, and I was the obedient backup plan. She looked at me in shock. How did you? How do I know? I laughed bitterly. Because I see it clearly now. For 3 years, I accommodated you, humbled myself until I despised myself. Now, I can finally be Jake Bennett again. Rachel's eyes reddened again. So, there's really no chance to fix this. I was about to answer when a crisp voice cut in. Jake, you forgot your protein shake. Chloe came bounding over, handing me a shaker bottle, then pretended to just notice Rachel. Oh, Rachel? What a coincidence. Rachel looked at me, then at Chloe, her expression turning ugly. You guys live together? Yeah. I rented the loft above Chloe's place. I took the bottle naturally. Thanks, almost forgot. Chloe patted my shoulder intimately. No problem. Remember to come try the new menu tonight. She nodded at Rachel. Rachel, come for coffee sometime. I'll give you 20% off. She turned and walked away coolly, leaving Rachel standing there, her face alternating between green and white. Looks like you're living it up, Rachel said coldly. Can't complain. I rolled my shoulder. Rachel, let the past stay in the past. You have everything. You won't have trouble finding someone better. She stared at me for a few seconds, then suddenly said, What if my dad forces me to remarry you? I laughed. You wouldn't do it. Since when does Rachel Sterling listen to anyone else? She paused, then cracked a smile. You know me better than before. Yeah, divorce makes you grow. I waved. See ya, hitting the weights. Walking away, I heard her shout, Jake Bennett. I won't give up. I didn't look back, just raised my arm and gave a thumbs up. This time, I wouldn't be led by the nose by Rachel Sterling. Rebirth gave me not just a chance to change my fate, but the courage to find myself. Back from the gym, just after showering, the doorbell rang. I opened it to find Chloe holding 2 plates of spaghetti. Hungry. She shook the plates. How special, want to try? I let her in, taking a plate. Thanks, I'm starving. Chloe looked around my apartment. Unpacked fast. It looks decent already. Not much stuff, just clothes and a computer. I dug into the pasta. This is good. She smiled proudly. Secret recipe. Then she hesitated. So, what did Rachel say to you today? Asked if I wrote the post and how I knew about Carter. I took a sip of water. Almost spilled the beans. Chloe frowned. She didn't suspect anything. I said your cousin checked it out. I winked. Sorry for using you as a shield. It's fine. Rachel won't ask me anyway. She waved her hand. But she looked pretty upset. I put down my fork. What? Feeling bad for your bestie? No way. Chloe rolled her eyes. I'm just curious. Rachel has always had whatever she wanted. I've never seen her bow down for anything. I leaned back on the sofa. She's not bowing down. She's just unwilling to accept a loss. Before, I did whatever she said. Now that I'm not listening, she can't adapt. Chloe looked at me thoughtfully. Do you still love her? The question stunned me. In my past life, after the divorce, I was in pain for a long time. But now, looking at Chloe's big eyes right in front of me, I realized I felt nothing for Rachel. No, I said softly. Like you said, we were never a match. Chloe's eyes lit up. Then she sat back pretending to be casual. That's good. I mean, good you moved on. We finished the pasta in silence. As Chloe packed the plates to leave, she turned. By the way, there's a business mixer tomorrow. Want to come? Business mixer? Yeah, local chamber of commerce. Rachel will definitely be there. She smiled slyly. Want to go piss her off? I laughed. Owner Lane, are you sure you're a good friend? Hey, she pouted. I just think you should show your face there. Let everyone see Rachel's ex-husband is outstanding. Stop people from thinking you're some pathetic guy who got dumped. I considered it and nodded. Okay, I'll go. Not to spite Rachel, but to network. I plan to invest that money. Chloe flashed a peace sign. I'll pick you up tomorrow at 6. Dress sharp. The next evening, I stood before the mirror in a dark blue suit, feeling a bit unnatural. In my past life, I rarely attended these events. Rachel thought I wasn't presentable. The doorbell rang. I opened it to find Chloe in a champagne-colored gown, hair elegantly pinned up, completely different from her usual casual style. Whoa, I whistled. Owner Lane, you look stunning. She spun around. Like it? Rented it. Cost me $2,000. Worth it, I said sincerely. Let's go, Cinderella. The mixer was at a downtown 5-star hotel ballroom. As soon as we entered, I saw Rachel. She was wearing her signature black evening gown, talking to some business tycoons. Seeing me walk in with Chloe, she visibly froze. Don't look at her. Chloe linked her arm with mine. Act natural. Let's meet some real players. For the next half hour, Chloe navigated the crowd with me, introducing me as an emerging investor. To my surprise, Chloe was a fish in water here, articulate and poised, nothing like the girl goofing around in the cafe. Chloe, I whispered. Who exactly are you? She smiled mysteriously. Tell you later. Just as we were talking to a real estate developer, Rachel walked over. Mr. King, she greeted elegantly, then swept a cold glance over me and Chloe. What a coincidence. Ms. Sterling. Mr. King said enthusiastically. Perfect timing. I was just listening to Mr. Bennett's concept for the East River development. Very insightful. You two were married, right? A true power couple. Rachel's expression stiffened. Mr. King likes to joke. We are. Divorced, I finished naturally. But business is business. Mr. King, regarding that proposal, Sterling Corp actually has interest too, right, Rachel? Rachel was totally lost. What proposal? The plan to link the East River New Zone with the Eco Park. I lied with a straight face. Didn't you say Arthur was very interested? Mr. King got excited. Really? That's fantastic. Ms. Sterling, shall we grab dinner and discuss? Rachel was cornered and had a nod. Why, yes. Of course. When Mr. King left to get a drink, Rachel's face instantly changed. Jake Bennett, what are you playing at? Helping you get business, I said innocently. That land has potential. Your dad will definitely be interested. How do you know about the East River Zone? That's still in the planning phase. Rachel looked at me suspiciously. Nearly exposed again. I explained quickly. Lucky guess. A friend in City Hall dropped a hint. Chloe chimed in timely. Rachel, Jake is helping you. Everyone is eyeing that land. King is just one of them. Rachel looked at me, then Chloe, and suddenly laughed. I get it. You two did this on purpose, right? Make me look bad, then pretend to help so I'd be grateful. Think what you want. I shrugged. But the business opportunity is real. Whether you cooperate is up to you. Rachel stared at me for a few seconds. Tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock. Sterling Corp conference room. Bring your detailed proposal. She turned and walked away. Chloe watched, jaw drop. Did she just ask you to talk business? Uh-huh. I sipped my champagne. Plan worked. Wait, Chloe grabbed me. When did you prepare a proposal? I'll pull an all-nighter tonight, I grinned. In my past, recently, I studied that land. I have ideas. Chloe shook her head. Jake, you continue to surprise me. After the mixer, we went back to the cafe. Even though it was late, Chloe insisted on helping me prep. You know a lot about commercial real estate, she said, looking at my blueprints. A little, I said modestly. Actually, after the divorce in my last life, I switched careers to real estate consulting and gained tons of experience. At 3 a.m., the proposal was done. Chloe had fallen asleep on the table. I gently draped a jacket over her, looking at her peaceful, sleeping face, feeling a warmth in my chest. Rebirth didn't just give me a chance to change fate, but eyes to see the goodness around me. Chloe, the girl I barely noticed before, was now my strongest supporter. 10 a.m. Chloe and I appeared at Sterling Corp HQ. The receptionist paused when she saw me, but quickly recovered her professional smile. Mr. Bennett, Ms. Sterling is waiting in the 28th floor conference room. In the elevator, Chloe whispered. Nervous? A little, I admit it. I used to come here waiting for Rachel to get off work, never as a partner. The doors opened, and the secretary let us in. Pushing open the door, I saw not only Rachel, but Arthur and several senior executives. Jake is here. Arthur stood up enthusiastically. Rachel said, you have a solid proposal. I glanced at Rachel. She sat expressionless, unreadable. Hello, Arthur. I greeted politely, then nodded to the others. Thank you for hearing me out. For the next 30 minutes, I detailed the development plan for the East River New Zone. The proposal blended my past life experience with future trends, data-heavy and logic-proof. So I believe if Sterling Corp partners with Mr. King to build an eco-business district on Plot A and high-end residential on Plot B, it creates a perfect synergy, I concluded. The room was silent. Arthur clapped first. Brilliant. Jake, I didn't know you studied real estate. An executive asked curiously, where did Mr. Bennett work before? I've always been interested in real estate. Just studied in my spare time. I lied humble. Rachel suddenly spoke up. Dad, I told you Jake had ability. He just never had the chance to show it. I looked at her in surprise. This was the first time Rachel had praised me in public. After the meeting, Arthur called me to his office alone. Jake, he poured me tea. Rachel told me everything about Carter. That kid really is trash. I nodded, staying silent. Rachel has been spoiled since she was little, Arthur sighed. But she's not stupid. She knows who treats her well. I guess where this was going and cut him off. Arthur, business is business. What happened between Rachel and me is over. Arthur looked at me. Is there really no chance? Arthur, I said sincerely. Rachel needs a partner who can talk to her as an equal, not an obedient accessory. I couldn't do that before. I can now, but our time has passed. Arthur was silent for a long time, then nodded. I respect your decision. But a gleam appeared in his eye. Business cooperation continues. Sterling Corp is very interested in this plan. Leaving the building, Chloe excitedly grabbed my hand. You were amazing. The look in those executives' eyes changed completely. I smiled and shook my head. Just an information advantage. Not just info, Chloe said seriously. It's you. You've changed. The old you never expressed opinions so confidently. I was about to answer when my phone beeped. Text from Rachel. Talk. I replied about cooperation. Dad wants to hire you as a project consultant. I looked at Chloe. Sterling wants to hire me. Wow. Her eyes lit up. Do it. The pay will be huge. I hesitated. Want to be awkward? Awkward how? Chloe slapped my shoulder. You hold the cards now, Consultant Bennett. I laughed and texted Rachel back. Can talk. Market rates apply. She replied instantly. 7 p.m. Shangri-La Lounge. Just us. Details. Chloe saw the message and made a face. Just us, huh? Jealous. I teased. As if. She huffed. Just warning you not to get led by the nose again. Relax. I ruffled her hair. Jake Bennett isn't the same Jake Bennett. That evening, I arrived on time. Rachel was seated by the window, 2 coffees in front of her. She was dressed casually, wearing no makeup, looking much softer than usual. Black coffee, no sugar, she slid a cup to me. I remember your taste. Thanks, I sat down. Arthur said you wanted to discuss details. She stirred her coffee. No rush. First, how have you been? Not bad, I said simply. Invested in some small shops, doing consulting for friends. It's fulfilling. Chloe's cafe. You invested? Yeah, planning a branch. She was silent for a moment. Are you two together? Just friends? I looked at her. Rachel, what do you really want to say? She took a deep breath. Jake, I've been thinking a lot. Maybe I never really knew you. I was surprised. Meaning, married 3 years. I didn't know you knew real estate. Didn't know you can negotiate like that, she smiled bitterly. I didn't even know what coffee you liked. I always treated you as background noise. I nodded, because our dynamic was unhealthy from the start. You were high above, and I was groveling. I was wrong, she said suddenly. Give me a chance. Let's get to know each other again, okay? I looked at the sincerity in her eyes, knowing this was a rare moment of humility for Rachel Sterling. But some things once missed are gone. Rachel, I said softly, we can get to know each other again. We can be friends, even business partners. But romantically, there's no going back. Her eyes reddened. Because of Chloe? No, I shook my head. Because I found myself. The current me won't lose myself for anyone again, including you. Rachel wiped the corner of her eye and forced a smile. Okay, at least we can be friends. So, Consultant Bennett, let's talk about your fee. The rest of the conversation was much lighter. We discussed project details like old friends, occasionally cracking jokes. Watching Rachel speak passionately, I realized maybe this was the relationship we should have had, equal, respectful partners. Meeting over, we walked out of the hotel. The night breeze was cool, the stars bright. Jake, Rachel said suddenly, if Carter never came back, will we have divorce? I thought for a moment. Yes, because the problem wasn't Carter. It was that our relationship was never equal. She nodded, seeming to accept the answer. Ride home. No thanks, I'll walk. It's not far. Staying at Chloe's? She asked again. Yeah, I admitted frankly. She's a good friend. Rachel smiled. You know, in college, Chloe once said she liked guys who were gentle but had a backbone. I laughed at her for wanting a contradiction. My heart skipped a beat. Really? Good night, Jake. Rachel turned to her car. See you Monday. Watching her car drive away, I stood on the street corner feeling that life was full of infinite possibilities. Rebirth gave me not just a change of fate, but the wisdom to redefine relationships. My phone vibrated. Message from Chloe. How did it go? Did she eat you alive? I smiled and replied, intact. Still willing to house a homeless man? She replied instantly. Waiting at the cafe? New beans just came in. Want a taste? I quickened my pace toward the cafe. This time, I wouldn't miss the beautiful things in life. Whether career, friendship, or a budding romance, I would embrace them with a new stance. Because the meaning of rebirth isn't about revenging the past, but creating a better future. Story complete.